up at the unit overlay, it looks like they only have, they do have one siege tank out there, but I don't think that that'll be enough. We also see one Viking, 5 Marauders, and a bunch of Marines, and here comes the SC2 development team.
Oh my goodness, just blasting into this Terran base. The Zerg trying to get the Banelings, and they get some hits in, but not enough. And the Colossus are just doing terrible, terrible damage to that front line of the Terrans, tearing it to pieces, and you can see the Terrans have almost been entirely wiped out. There's not a lot left. Here comes the Viking, it's the right unit, but it's a little too late. The Viking can, of course, fire at those Colossus. The Colossus is a ground unit, but it's so tall that it takes air-to-air attacks. The Viking dancing around, trying to pick up the Colossus moving away. The Spine Crawlers for the Zerg, tearing up that attack force, and it looks like the Zerg might be able to hold out against the attack, but unfortunately, his Terran allies in a lot of trouble as this combined Team 1 strike force moves into this vulnerable Terran base.
So Team 1 obviously is going to be going for the easier target in this situation. They are going to be going straight for Hellion. He doesn't have a whole lot to defend, and all that Billy has to back him up are a few roaches. Those roaches are going to get demolished in a matter of seconds from the Colossus.
And the Colossus are just trashing the place now. 3 Colossus together is a real threat, going for the SCVs, going for the cripple, even as the Terrans lift off, trying to run for their lives. Oh my goodness, all of those SCVs down, all wiped out by that fire. And you can see how many workers are left for the Terran player. He has only 17 workers left in this game compared to the 30s and high 30s of his ally and opponent. And that's the game right there. They really need to get more workers in the game. And it just looks like Team 1's just having their way with cinematics as they just destroy this Terran base.
Having their way. Yes, they are. They're going to be moving down now into the natural expansion. Once they have finished off Yeon-Ho Lee's main base, obviously they're going to move in with their forces. They're also bringing some additional reinforcements across the field. What's that? What's that?
Thor, a mighty Thor, stomping onto the battlefield, looking for some blood. No doubt, he may not even arrive in time at this point, but he can do just a lot of damage if he gets into position. Very strong against buildings. And look, the Terrans trying to find a place to land. Oh, please. Where can I go to escape this endless destruction? And there's just no obvious place to run at this point. The Thor unleashing a barrage of missiles from his guns, driving the Terrans back. And of course, this is the weakness of this Terran Protoss, Terran Zerg combo. The creep getting in the way of the Terran player, the Terran not able to find a safe place to land. He couldn't even build bunkers in this area because of the creep. And wow, they're just trashing the place. Cinematics holding on really tight. No doubt not wanting to lose this first game, just desperately trying to figure out what can they do to survive this onslaught. And there's the GG. Good game, says Cinematics to Team 1.
So pretty interesting first match. All of you got to see exactly what we mean when we talk about 2v2 specific maps. Both of the teams spawn right next to each other. They have very easy places to expand to and to help defend each other and play together.
Right, yeah, it really makes a big difference. You tend to see a lot more teching, and at the same time you sometimes see a lot of additional resourcing as well, which makes the 2v2 maps a lot more exciting to watch in certain cases. Sometimes they get a little stagnant, as it did in the first part of that game, but you can see it sort of pays off by the end. As these races push out of the map, you can sometimes see very high-tech units really laying waste across the battlefield.
So we're going to be moving into the second map. I am not a participant, I am an observer. So here we go. They're going to be duking it out on Phaeton. This is a very interesting 2v2 map. I know it's one of your favorites.
Yeah, this one's a lot of fun to play. It really has several lanes on it that really sort of control the map. It's a little bit more open than it was on that last map, so we sometimes see a little bit more rushing on this map and a little bit more aggressive early game moves.
Which is something that we'll likely see. We don't have David quite in the game yet. As you can see, we're just waiting on him to get in there. But Billy is sticking with the blue Zerg, and Hellion will be sticking with the light blue Terran. As we can see, David Kim's teammate, Matt Gocher, will also be continuing to play the orange Protoss.
This might be a good time to remind everybody this is a work in progress. We are still working on this game, so you may see some things here today that aren't quite right. Hopefully nothing really awful will happen during the shoutcast, but we are really still working on this game, so there's a little bit of development ahead of us to really finish this thing up and really polish it off.
Really making yourselves exposed to the world, letting them see this game.
So this might be a good time to point out, there's no money on the line here, there's no big check for these players at the end of this game. Really, all that's on the line here is their self-respect. At the end of the day, the winners will get honor and glory, and the losers will get nothing but defeat, shame, and humiliation as they walk the halls of Blizzard, being taunted by everyone they walk past.
I think you just made losing in front of thousands and thousands of people even worse. So we're ready to get the game going.
Now, we've seen David Kim win a lot of games. I've read the boards, and the cry has gone out. Nerf David Kim. So who here would like to see Cinematics win this next round? Woo!
Yeah, that's the entire crowd.
BlizzCon, woo!
BlizzCon. Top left corner of the screen, David Kim playing as the yellow Zerg. Down in the lower 7 o'clock position, Matt Gocher as the orange Protoss. Over here in the 4, we have Hybalisk, Billy Shi playing as the blue Zerg, and all the way above him is Yeon-Ho Lee as the light blue Terran. A different focal point on this map is that you have your teammates that are still very, very far from their allies, as we can see. Yeah, there is a small choke right out here, leads into your natural, but there's also another ramp that leads into sort of the commune area where you can hang out with your friends.
So each player is still very defensible, but they're a little further away from their allies, and it's a little harder to get together to defend one another. And you can see they're not building in the common area. Instead, they're building to protect sort of their natural position. Now, there are 3 main lanes on this map. It's important to notice. There's a top lane that has these rocks. This is a new feature for StarCraft 2. You can destroy these rocks to get access to this top part of the map. And this is something that takes a little bit of a while to do. These are pretty tough rocks. It takes a lot of damage to take these things out. So to pull enough forces off of the battle line to deal with these rocks can be a real risk. You can lose a lot of board control if you destroy these rocks, but at the same time, the enemy may not be aware that these rocks are gone, and it gives you access to this expansion point, and ultimately, it leads across to the right side of the map to access to the enemy's base from the back door, so you can make some sneaky attacks that the enemy may not be expecting. So there's a northern lane just like that one we showed you. There's a southern lane that mirrors it in exactly the same way, but the central lane of the map is completely open. That's where most of the activity for this map will probably happen, and that's probably where the game will be decided. But sometimes those top and bottom lanes can be decisive, especially if a team gets desperate or if the battle gets a little bit long, you can expect those lanes to get used.
And here moves Yeon-Ho Lee up into David Kim's base. He's trying to scout to the best of his ability. He is going to see that David Kim has gone for a fast spawning pool and also for a fast gas. What do you think we're going to see here?
It's difficult to say. He might be going for Banelings.
Lots of choices for Zerg.
Since he knows there's a Terran player on the board and the Banelings are so powerful against the Marines, this map it's a little harder to defend. It looks like there's a little bit of aggressive move again by Matt as he tries to get some damage off, chasing that wounded SCV. Oh wait, it looks like that SCV has a chance of escaping. Again, these players going for every inch they can get.
Oh no, it's not looking good.
He managed to take out the SCV. A small gain, a minor gain, but a gain nonetheless, as we can see that he's really still got plenty of workers in the game. It hasn't cost him much, but he's got something out of it as these players continue to push at each other. Now this map, again, because the players start further apart, we might see some rushing from these players, more tier 1 pushes, which can be very, very important to use your micro. The middle of this board has a lot of line of sight blockers and it has a lot of watchtowers, which you can use to gain a real strategic advantage on your opponent and a real micro advantage. So that early tier 1 battle could be vital as these players move out. You can see Billy's got a few Zerglings in the middle of the board there. He does have control, or no, he doesn't have control actually. David Kim has control of that watchtower, so he sees everything that's going on around the middle of the map.
But Billy does have control of the lower watchtower. We can see that both of the Zerg players are going for their metabolic boost. That is the Zergling speed upgrade. And David Kim takes back that Xel'Naga watchtower for a brief moment in time as him and Matt march across the field.
Here comes Team 1 making an aggressive push. A couple of Zealots, a bunch of Zerglings. But the Zerglings are a little fast. The Zealots are a little far behind. They manage to do some damage and they break apart. We need to see some more activity from the Terran player to get involved in this battle, or the Zerg player's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Team 1 pushing all. Like Team 1's about to get trapped here in the middle of the board. If they don't get watch out, and they look like they are getting trapped, but Team 1's coming in from behind at exactly the same time. It looks like Cinematics is going to manage to hold the line and beat back this early game Team 1 push.
What a great job by Cinematics, really able to pull together. They're using the map to their advantage. Billy knew where exactly David Kim and Matt were headed to, so they were moving across the map. We do see a couple more units out here. Oh, is that? Wow, those Zealots moved really fast. I believe we just saw the Zergling speed upgrade finish up, so the Zerglings are going to be able to move across the field so fast. Probably going to see Billy going for some sort of round. No, it's looking like Cinematics is going to be forced to retreat from this.
Lots of micro in this battle, lots of forces fighting all over the map. Cinematics trying to gather their forces, and there's lots of dancing back and forth. One Zealot managed to almost get surrounded there. It looks like Cinematics is going for a push. They're bypassing everything on the front line. They're trying to get in the back of the base. Just